Hello, and welcome to episode 24 of the Steam Deck podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Radford, joined as always by my very good friend and co-host, Mr. Max Wright.
Hello. Sorry, I just stolen your one there because I couldn't think of anything on
That's fine. Hello is a good one. It's great.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
I use it at work.
Can you believe that word was only invented when the telephone was invented? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Oh, I've got a new intro. I've got a new intro for next week. You've just inspired me. Thank you very much.
Have I got to wait? We got to wait for it?
No, I'm just gonna go with Ahoy.
Ahoy is a good one.
Great.
It's very
And
like
I'm
ship,
doing it.
ship-like, you know?
Yeah.
I think of like the Navy and stuff.
Yeah, I am wearing Navy. This is actually a Navy t-shirt. So.
I'm wearing like a Navy crew neck. I feel like that whenever I wear this, I feel like I look like a prison guard, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you look like you belong in prison. So, yeah, that does make sense.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk all about the Steam Deck. This week, we've got a bunch of questions that we're going to go through again from the community. We've got some stuff about, like, should you buy a Steam Deck in the first place? Like the future of Steam Deck, those kind of things. But before we do that, I saw this really cool post over on Reddit from Captain Colonel Popcorn. And they said, Steam Deck is on the way and I've got $100 to spend towards new games. What should I add or change from this list? Now, their list contains a bunch of games that I have never played and would never play. But I wanted to do this exercise ourselves. And we've given ourselves £100 because it's very difficult to deal with currency conversion, and I just went on to the store, and I even went over the £100 limit. But on their list, they had Ori the Collection, Vampire Survivors, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, Brutal Legend, RoboQuest, How to Survive Storm, Warning Edition, and Dead Cells. That came in at $89.
Not a bad list. I'll give them that.
Pretty good list.
I'm okay with it.
Where did your list come in at? How much did you spend?
I actually play with the rules a little bit, as you know I like to do. I spent £103.96, but I think the value is going to make that okay.
That's fine, because I spent £102.66, and I feel like you can, you've got a £100 budget, but yeah, it's okay to go over by a couple of quid, right?
Yep. Now, where I twisted the rules is I didn't buy them on Steam.
Oh, see, now that's cheating. Because I imagined it if I got Steam credit, but that's fine because you can shop around, I guess. If you've got.
And I'm saying that like the joy of PC gaming, and always has been the joy of PC gaming, is you have the option to not just buy on the storefront. You have the choice of buying elsewhere, and a lot of the time getting a Steam key, whether you're getting it from Humble or Fanatical or any of those kind of sites.
Like Humble or CD Keys, or like we did a whole episode, and I can't remember which episode it was, and someone sent in a link to istthereanydeal.com, which was a site I'd never heard of before, and just like a phenomenal website to go to if you're looking for a specific game. Istthereanydeal.com, type in the name of the game you're looking for, and it'll tell you the best place to go and buy it, and if there's any deal going on any of the sites at that time.
The issue with buying off of Steam pre-warning is you don't, as far as I know, you don't get the benefits of the Steam refunds, how great the Steam refunds are. You can't play the game for 2 hours, decide you don't like it, and get your money back. Once you buy it, you have it. And I think that for me, if I sort of know I want the game, it's a few years old, and I spend a couple of pounds on it, I'm not that bothered about losing that couple of pounds.
And if it's going to work, right? Because I think with the Steam Deck as well, there's that possibility of a brand new game. Say, for example, you bought Dead Space, and you didn't know it was going to work on Steam Deck day one. Or I think probably The Division's a better example, which came to Steam a couple of weeks ago, said it had Steam Deck support, didn't. They had to patch Proton in order to add in the easy anti-cheat support. There's the possibility that you end up with a game that you can't refund and it doesn't work on Steam Deck. But you could always check something like Proton DB, or if someone's giving you a recommendation of a game, then checking out istthereanydeal.com is always a good idea.
Or taking a huge risk and going to the Steam Deck subreddit, trawling through the rubbish in there to try and find that nugget of good information. Why don't you go through your Steam specific, you buy them on Steam, you're getting Steam credit, and tell us what you would get.
Yes.
Just a quick question. I did it for, if I right now was given that amount of money, me as I am, exactly as me as I am as me.
What are you going to buy with it?
What would I buy?
That you don't have?
Yeah, not Yeah, I've not gone in for like what would I recommend someone with
Okay,
£100
see,
to
I
buy.
did it that way around. So I went
Yeah.
with a bunch of games I already own and what I would recommend people buy. It would be quite a cool exercise to do it the way you did as well. Maybe I'll think about that and come back next week about it. And I want to hear in the comments what everyone else would buy as well.
Hmm.
But I put together a list of games that I love and would recommend people picking up. So Hitman: World of Assassination, which is all of Hitman, the latest trilogy from 2016 onwards. You can pick all of them up at the moment. It's on sale until the 31st of January for £32.17. And that includes the brand new Freelancer update, which came out on the 26th of January. So
Oh, right, so you get it all.
you get literally everything. It's all in there and it's well worth playing. If you've never played Hitman before, it's a phenomenal series. I absolutely love it. And I feel like they're right at home on Steam Deck because you can just jump in and jump out whenever you want. You can just be like, all right, I'm going to quickly play a level, or I'm going to try and complete this challenge. And you can just pause it, pop the Steam Deck down, and just carry on with what you were doing. So I think Hitman's right at home. Resident Evil 2 Remake is currently £8.74 until the end of the month. Absolute bargain. If you've not played Resident Evil 2 Remake, or you've never played a Resident Evil game, I personally think this is the best place to start for any Resident Evil game, is start with 2 Remake.
I think that was the one that I played. I think I played a bit of 7, then I picked up the 2 remake, played that 4 or 5 times in a row, and then I was like, cool. I picked up Village, I picked up 3, I went back and finished 7. Like that was the one that really got me into the series.
It modernizes it. It gives you an idea of the mechanics. It's got a great replayability. It gives you a backstory on Umbrella and Raccoon City, which you don't get from like Resident Evil 7. Like, there's like glimpses of it. You find out who Chris Redfield is, and he is in a lot of the other games, so you kind of want to know. So it's a good starting place, and they've never really properly remade Resident Evil 1 other than the GameCube version, which is still fixed camera angles. It's not great. Then on my list I've got Stacklands, which was basically the list now is like games that I'm in love with, and I think you really, the best place to play them is on Steam Deck. So Stacklands, great little card game, well worth picking up. It's only $3.99. 5 Dates, my favorite FMV game of all time, great dating sim, $9.99. Inscription, which if you've not played, I know Max, you haven't, right?
I've started it. I think, but like I think you said, I didn't get past the first chapter, so I've no idea what's going on.
Yeah, you've got to get past Act 1 to really kind of get into to the game, and it turns into a special game after that. That's $16.79. Vampire Survivors $3.99, a must-have for anyone that owns a Steam
silly
Deck.
if you don't own it. Silly.
And Hi-Fi Rush, which we may talk about a little bit in the back half of this show, but we spoke about it at length on this week's Flip Screen Games podcast, which I think will probably be coming out Monday. So make sure you go check that one out. That was a really fun discussion and a really nice surprise from Microsoft. So my total came in at £102.66, which I'm happy about. You could sack off Stacklands or Vampire Survivors if you're not interested in either of those, and you come in under the £100. And it's also worth just adding every single game to your wish list, and it will just email you when it's on sale. So if there's a game you like the look of, and it's just like, you know what, I don't want to pay 60 quid for it, or I don't want to pay 30 quid for it, you just add it to your list, and it'll send you a notification when it goes on sale for a much cheaper price.
Yeah, just patience is key with stuff like this, and I think there's so many options on Steam and the Steam Deck and on PC or whatever that really you've got time to be patient. You've got a chance to be patient. So yeah, I think that's a good list. I think you cover a lot of ground there, and I think that is a good list for sort of games people to play. I've obviously gone a lot of different way, like I said, which is games that I want to play but don't want to pay the full price for. This is pure value right here. So for £103, I'm getting Cyberpunk 2077. Admittedly, I've just seen that's not on Steam. That's a good old games one. But if you just install Heroic Launcher, you can install it from there.
And to be fair, that always goes on sale. I think that will probably go on sale at the next sale again.
Yeah. I mean, this is they usually go down for $25. It was recently £25. This is $17.99 on CD keys, but you don't get the Steam key. So yeah, it depends on whether that's important to you. For me, for the ease, I would like that, but also knowing that Heroic Launcher is out there, or options you've said, Bottles, Lutris, or whatever, it's not a huge deal getting it on Good Old Games or GOG. I think they've dropped the Good Old Games thing completely. Next up, I would like a copy of Elden Ring
on Humble Store for $24.99 as well, which I think is
that'll be
That's a Steam
Was that
key,
Steam
right?
key? No, I've no idea. I've no idea actually.
Oh no, it is
It's a good
GOG.
point.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. I'd rebuy, or I would buy myself a Steam copy of Elden Ring, because I want to give that game another go. I've played it on a friend's copy on my Steam Deck, but I'd like a copy that's my own, because then I don't have to worry about him hopping on to play some VR and I get kicked off of the game.
What were you playing on then? What platform did you play on? PlayStation?
I PlayStation 5, yeah. I got my Platinum on PlayStation 5. 3 playthroughs, however many I did on the PlayStation 5, but I would like to go again on PC on Steam Deck.
Yeah, I really want to play again on.
Just have
on
the
Steam
option of
Deck.
swapping between it.
I have a copy now because Zaid, one of our Patreon producers, gifted me a copy for Christmas, which was very generous of him.
Yeah, Zaid, hit me up. That's my friends.
And I've not played it yet, but I've not completed my Xbox save, and I don't know if I want to start again on Steam Deck or if I just want to finish my save on Xbox and then move over. Really frustrating. Yeah, really frustrating because that came out like a month before I got my Steam Deck, and I think I probably would have finished it if the Steam Deck hadn't arrived.
Well, why I would like to have it on Steam and Steam Deck is because when Elden Ring was out and I was sort of at my peak, thinking about it all day, I'd play it till like late at night. I'd wake up early to play it. I would pack up my PlayStation 5 every morning. I'd leave my house at 7 a.m. I would drive to work to avoid the rush hour traffic. So instead of an hour's journey to work, I was having a half an hour journey to work at 7 a.m. Get to work at 7:30. Open up the PS5, plug it all in, play for an hour till work starts at work.
Mental, really.
Then I would play on my lunch break, then I'd pack it up and drive it home and play it there. If I had the Steam Deck, wouldn't have to do that. I could just sit at my desk on the Steam Deck.
You could have done the remote play thing and tried that.
I tried it, but it would have
been Garbo.
This was let me tell you, the option I was going with was the best option, and I am glad I did it, and it really made going to work early good.
Bearable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Next up, I would like to get Sackboy: A Big Adventure, because it's sort of $50 on Steam. I've had it in my wish list for a while. £50. I keep saying dollars on Steam. It's in my wish list, and it's $23.99 on CD keys. So it's a game I want to play, but didn't want to play PS4 prices, PS5 prices when it first launched. When it's coming to PC, I thought, great, I'll be able to pick it up cheaper, and apparently it runs really well on the Steam Deck.
I would kind of hope so.
Wait for sort of a price drop on that. No, exactly.
Impressive game, isn't it?
Yeah. So that is 3 fairly sort of like AAA sort of large things. I'm not done yet, because the last thing I would get, and it comes at the most expensive portion of the list, taking up a good 35% of it, is Resident Evil 4. I would get a pre-order for Resident Evil 4 on Steam.
Okay, fair enough. I never pre-order games. I refuse, especially when they're digital. So that just out of principle I couldn't buy currently because it's a pre-order.
Well, did you see that I did a big pre-order earlier in the year? Earlier in the year, it's January. A couple of weeks ago, when I saw that you could get Dead Space, £35 on CD keys for EA, and same with Jedi Survivor, and also it was just after the first episode of Last of Us was on.
Yeah.
So I saw Last of Us Part 1. So I picked up those 3 games, pre-ordered all 3 of them for £100 on CD keys. So I thought that was pretty good value, and I knew that I'm pretty. I think Jedi Survivor is a pretty safe bet. We already know Last of Us Part 1 is going to be a good game. Whether it runs well on the Steam Deck is to be seen, but I will probably just play it on PC. I can imagine it probably
will at 30 FPS, but if you're looking for like the 60 FPS performance mode, then playing on console.
That's what I prefer.
Full-blown PC is probably the way to go.
Yeah, and I think I know that if I can't play it on Steam Deck, I have the option of PC. So yeah, that's £100. Pounds. Oh, what's wrong with it? I was like you earlier when you said you were going to the store, and I thought Pete's really rubbing off on us, man, and it's happening to me as well.
I usually say store whenever I message Pete, so that's probably I'm just in a habit of messaging Pete.
Oh, well, I was Pete yesterday, and I could be Pete today. So not yesterday. That's not how podcast magic works. It's all the same day. So yeah, that's my £100.
Okay, good list, I think. I
like to think so.
Yeah, I think I probably should have done it the way you did, where it's like I'm going to buy these games because it's games I want, but I don't think I've got £100 worth of games I want to buy currently. Not even on my wish list. I can't imagine like I would spend it. Like I don't really have anything. There's one game I want at the moment, which is that Pizza Tower game. Have you seen it? It's just like it looks like a cross between Wario Land and Ren and Stimpy, and it looks very interesting. I'm not sure I like the art style, but I love Wario Land, so I kind of want to check it out. But that's only 16 quid. Almost
I
made
did
our
dive into my wish list to try and find some of these games that I thought maybe would that could be on the list, and I noticed a lot of them were either on Game Pass. I own them elsewhere, and most of the games on my wish list are actually coming soon. They're games I might have backed on Kickstarter, or they're games that indie games I'm looking forward to, or they're games that were announced during the Game Awards and stuff. So I didn't really feel like using that list because otherwise I'd be just listing off a bunch of games that aren't out yet and I can't buy. And I don't know how much they are. So
yeah. Right, well, before we get into the listener, viewer, reader questions, I just want to thank all of our Patreons, and specifically our Patreon producers for the month of January. They are Anthony Gonzalez, Christian Oliveria, Christopher Valens, Earth Visitor, Gabriel Hasselmeyer, aka Asobi, Mary Berry, aka my dad, Matthew MQC, Ty the Dude, Wakahula, and Zaid Eda. Thank you all so much for supporting us.
Mary Berry's been your dad this entire time?
Yeah, Mary Berry's my dad. Yeah, he changed his name to Mary Berry. Yeah, I think he needs to change it more frequently, really, because everyone's just
Leith.
Who the hell's Mary Berry? Yeah, exactly. It was when we were talking about Bake Off on One More Thing once. Okay. And then he wanted to, he changed his name to Mary Berry. Because I was like, what if Mary Berry listens to the show? But you'll have to go subscribe over at patreon.com/flipscreengames to hear what that was all about. If you want to find out everywhere we are, head over to flipscreen.games. You can find the link to our Patreon, find the link to our Discord. We'll recap it at the end of the show. Until then, we have a question from Dev Natu, and he actually commented on our YouTube video, our tutorial about Xbox streaming to Steam Deck. And he said, I have a Switch at the moment, but I'm not enjoying it due to the lack of games and also how the Joy-Cons are. Would you recommend buying a Steam Deck? I'm on the fence as there are also other portable handhelds available, but loads are more expensive. There's also talk of a Steam Deck 2. What do you think, Max?
There's always talk of the next thing, and I think that should never prevent you from buying the current thing.
Unless you're considering buying like a Switch this late in life, then I kind of feel like it should stop you.
Yeah, maybe, but even then, like, we still have no evidence, that there's anything necessarily coming yet. But then again, it's not like the Switch is currently any cheaper than it was at launch, so I guess it's not like, oh, we'll get the cheap one now and then in a couple of years' time when the new one's cheap, get that one. So yeah, I think the fact that people are talking about the Steam Deck 2 when they're always talking about the Steam Deck 2 is going to be is a moot point for me. However, in terms of there are other portable handhelds but loads are more expensive, I would actually swap that sentence around and say, but are loads more expensive, because the ones we were talking about last week, the new Ioneos and that, they're all £1,000 upwards, right? You're getting great performance. Maybe you're getting sort of, slightly different things, but the Steam Deck is like value-wise better than any of them, and it still has all of the games. Maybe there's a bit more tinkering to get them to run as well on that, because, but then again, Steam also has the Proton integration, all those kind of things. I think if you're looking for a portable that isn't the Steam Deck, that isn't the Switch, it's the Steam Deck, because really there's only really sort of two runners, and I think they also differentiate themselves enough that I wouldn't even say one or the other. If you're thinking about getting one of these Ioneos, or is that right Ioneo?
Yeah, it's Ioneo. Now they do have a bunch, right? So it really depends what version of the Steam Deck you're looking at getting as well, because you can get an Ioneo Air for $549. So if you were looking at buying the like top end Steam Deck, you're coming in at around the same price for the low end Ioneo, but the performance is significantly higher. The TDP is significantly higher. I think it can go up to 45 watts on the Ioneo Airs.
All right. Okay.
But it really depends. They have a lot of SKUs. It really depends which model you get, and it can be quite confusing. I mean, obviously we're pretty biased. We all have Steam Decks. We have run a Steam Deck podcast. I mean, there's the stuff from GPD as well, but again, those are really expensive devices. It depends what you're looking for, and it sounds like if you're a Switch owner, I think what you probably want is more like a console experience rather than a PC. And I really feel like the Steam Deck is the best contender and the best device that does that is essentially a PC, because it boots straight into Steam, and yes, you can tweak all the other ones to do that. And the Ioneo devices do have a really nice interface as well that can connect into all of the stores. Like it can connect into Steam, GOG, Epic Games, EA, all of them, and they'll show in a single interface, which is really, really quite nice. But I think the majority of people have their PC games on Steam. It's where they want their games to be. And you're right in the fact that Proton is a factor here. But, these Ioneo devices, they run on Windows. So the games would natively be supported anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to do an episode, we probably will do either next week or in the coming weeks, about the year of Linux gaming, because I kind of see that this year is when Linux gaming really kind of takes off, because we've got the full release of SteamOS 3 coming out, and we've got Ioneo's new Ioneo OS, which is a Linux-based system as well that's going to be coming out. But I think really, if you're thinking about buying a Steam Deck, you're watching videos about the Steam Deck, you should kind of pull the trigger and go for it, because the games you can play, if you're feeling like there's not enough games on the Switch that really kind of suit your needs at the moment, and I kind of felt like that last year. I only bought 2 games on the Switch last year because I didn't really feel like there was anything that was released for me.
Yeah, I remember saying the same when we were talking about our Game of the Year thing, and then I suddenly realised, like when they released the Your Year in Gaming from the Switch, I was like, I played most of my games on Switch last year. How bizarre. But I was also in the same boat as you, going, it wasn't really a great year for that, but... Oh, well,
yeah, but you had some like big games, right, that came out. But if Xenoblade's not for you or Pokemon's not for you, then there was really very little last year in the way of games. And I feel like Steam Deck has like a whole library open to you of games you may never have played. If you've only ever been a Nintendo player, it's quite possible that there's a ton of games. Having said that, you left a comment on an Xbox video, so I can presume you've got an Xbox as well. And you can obviously stream all of the Xbox games to it. You can stream your PS5 to it. It's an open platform, so you can install emulators on it. There's a whole host of things you can do with the device outside of just playing games. But I know a bunch of our listeners do just buy the device and do just play games on it. And that's absolutely fine, because that's what it was designed to do. And it was designed to be super easy for you to do that.
It's got the flexibility as well of being able to sort of be a console, be a handheld, very easy to use console, or if you want to get down and dirty with it, you can do what Steve does, which is tinker away in the insides, and make little plugins. That's patronizing. Make big plugins and be a power user. It has that power to do it because you can log into the desktop mode. There's a few questions here that he's added. A few questions he's added onto his one question.
This was stuff that I added. So I wanted to ask him. Like, what games do you play? These are the questions you kind of need to think about, right? It's like, what games do you play? And are those games going to be catered by the Steam Deck? Or do you need a device that's maybe a little bit more powerful? And how do you like to play them, right? Because if you're playing like big AAA games, yes, they'll work on the Steam Deck, and I've had no issues playing them at 30 FPS. But if you're expecting like a 60 FPS experience with the latest and greatest AAA games, then maybe you do need to look at one of the Ioneo Next devices, which are like $1,500.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I was prepared to start critiquing the questions as if they were his questions, but now they're pointing back at him. They suddenly make more sense, so I'm okay with
it. The one thing I do want to call out, though, is the fact that I'm in the same boat as you. All of my Joy-Cons are drifting. I am going to, as soon as I'm ready to play a game on the Switch again, order some GillyKit Hall sensor sticks that they now exist. They can now be replaced. You can do the same thing for your Steam Deck as well. And I'm very excited to be able to have some Joy-Cons that will never drift again.
Don't wait. Buy them now. Make the video. Well, don't wait.
Why? What's the point? I just get, I don't have any desire to play a game on the Switch at this point.
Buy them. I'll send you my Joy-Cons. Install them for the video. Send them back to me. All right. Okay.
It's really not difficult to swap out sticks on Joy-Cons. But if everyone wants to see a video, let me know in the comments, and I'll put together a video.
You will be seeing me in the comments, Steve.
Okay. We have got now one of Asobi's patented 3-question formats. Every single time, 3 questions, and I like when he always stuffs two questions into a single question as well. It's great.
He doesn't break the system. He just bends it.
He's just like shit. This was 4 questions. How do I get around it? I'll add another one in, but I'll just put it in number 1, so no problem. So question 1 from Asobi: what do you think will be Valve's next move regarding software? They have a track record of saying that they want to make games with hardware in mind, like Nintendo. Actual quote from Gabe. They showed this off with Half-Life Alyx 2. Do you think Steam Deck's success will change how they approach their next games?
I think that the only real thing, because I think we had the discussion before where I said, "Do you think it's possible they'll do like an exclusive?" And you guys were like, "No,
Well,
no, no,
we
no,
got a
no,
question
no."
from Navilius about that as well, where he said,
Okay, we can get there.
to go along with the Sobeys question, do you think Valve will make a Steam Deck exclusive or maybe a timed exclusive game for the Steam Deck?
Timed exclusive, possibly, if you're talking like the same way Half-Life Alyx was timed exclusive for the
It's still exclusive for the
Is it?
Steam VR. You can play it on. It wasn't
right.
ever exclusive to the Index. You could play it on the
Right, okay.
HTC.
Well, it's coming to PSVR 2, right? Half-Life
No,
Alyx,
it's not
as far
been
as I know.
announced.
Is it not?
No.
Oh, I'm reading things and taking them as fact.
That was one of my predictions that they would announce it last year, and I lost
okay.
that one. Wasn't announced.
Okay, all right, fine. Well, I do think that the one thing they will do when they make these games, the next game, or even like if they move on from Source and they make like a Steam engine, I think that's going to be very heavily optimized for the Steam Deck. You know, their hardware first, and I think you'll be able to get the best performance on the Steam Deck. Not the best, you'll be able to get solid, take full advantage of the Steam Deck, 60 FPS, you know, running 800p.
We've already seen that, right? With Aperture Desktop.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if they were to do Portal 3 or you know when they make whatever the new engine is, if they make a new engine or if they keep making games into Source, they're going to be like no matter how high quality it is, how ambitious it is, it's always going to run really well on the Steam Deck on their own hardware.
Yeah, they'll make sure they'll absolutely make sure of that. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and I think that's what we'll see going forward. I mean, if they still have interest in making games, which I guess I say that like Half-Life Alyx didn't come out 2 years ago. But I think that I don't think the Steam Deck will force them to make a Steam Deck exclusive game. I think it will mean that every game that comes out will just play fantastically on the Steam Deck. I look forward to it.
Yeah, I agree with you. So they are working on new games. I think we know that. Neon Prime is apparently the game that they registered a trademark for that. It's on the way, and we just don't know anything about it. It's meant to be set in the Dota universe, but we don't really know much more about it other than that. And I think that's probably going to be one of the titles that they use to show off the Steam Deck. I could see what they would probably do is want to take advantage of all of the input methods that the Steam Deck offers, which is what they did with Aperture Desktop. So you have some gyro stuff in there. Maybe there's some stuff that you use the trackpads for, that kind of thing. But if they're going to do that, I think we probably then need a Steam controller to go along with it, where we get all of those input methods that we can use on PC. Now, traditionally, all of their games that they've built have been built for a mouse and keyboard. And so Aperture Desktop was a real departure. It was the first PC game that Valve had made that was designed around a controller and very controller-centric. And I think, they'll continue that approach. I think all games going forward will support a controller, will support the Steam Deck, but I still don't think we're going to get a Steam Deck exclusive. I think probably it would do well for them to make one if they wanted to sell more Steam Decks, but they don't seem to be having any issue selling them. They've only just come in. They only just come in stock everywhere around the world where you can buy them immediately, and that happened this week in Asia. But even still, like the 64GB model in Japan still has a waiting list, so it's still not freely readily available. They're still not in markets like Australia. There's still a lot of places that they could go before I think they need to make an exclusive title. So
Sorry, I was going to say, am I right in saying that the Aperture Desktop cannot be played on PC because it requires gyro?
You can play it on. You can play it on PC. They put provisions in for it, so it detects what type of controller you're playing. It's designed for the Steam Deck, it says designed as a free playable short for Valve Steam Deck. Our Desktop walks you through the handheld controls and features, not nearly being as boring as that sounds, but you can just play it on whatever you want. It's no issue.
Yeah, cool. That makes sense.
So next question from Asobi, number 2. Do you think a partnership between Xbox and Valve is inevitable? Game Pass support on Steam Deck would be very beneficial for both parties, in my opinion.
I think it's it would be great, but I also feel like we've been having the same conversation about Nintendo for like 4 years now of, they're getting really pally. Maybe we'll see Game Pass on the Switch. And I know that, however, I do think it's easier for them to get Game Pass on
A
Steam
lot
Deck
easier.
because it's just I don't know if it's going to be like an official partnership because I remember when Microsoft tried to say to say, oh yeah, look, we're committed to bringing Call of Duty to Nintendo, we're committed to bringing it to Steam, and Gabe was just like, yeah, I don't want to make a partnership with you. Like that should just be the point. We are an open platform. Like feel free to put
Well,
your
I
games on
think
here.
maybe it's more like EA Play on Steam, right? Like it would
Mhm.
work in that regard where you get your membership through Steam and it's all paid through Steam and you subscribe through Steam, that kind of thing, and you get all of the games and you can just download them from Steam. Rather than its own separate app, because anyone can put an app on the Steam store. They could put an Xbox app on there already and have like a nicer experience to set up cloud streaming rather than their current approach, which is, hey, download Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome and then run these commands in the terminal, and then you can add it as a manual shortcut and you have to manually add artwork. It's really not a great experience. And then that's only just cloud streaming. So I kind of do agree that eventually I think we'll get Game Pass support on Steam Deck. I think there's a lot for Microsoft to figure out in terms of DRM, because at the moment it's very intrinsically linked to Windows and relies on a bunch of the provisions that Windows has in place for it. But if EA managed to do it with Valve, I think Microsoft could probably do it with Valve as well.
I didn't realize that EA Play was on Steam in that way, and having been on that, I think that would be very easy. I've just seen like it's got its own page, it's got all the games you can get on it. It's sort of laid out like as if it was like almost like a sale, I guess, on Steam. If Xbox were to do that, and I was able to take all of the Game Pass games that I've downloaded recently and play them on the Steam Deck, then wicked. I didn't realize it was going to be it could be potentially that easy. So yeah, I take back what I said. I'm fully on board, and I think it's very possible. So
so this is the kind of partnership that I think Asobi's talking about, right? Because it is, you very much do need to have some kind of partnership agreement in place between the two companies in order to do this. Now, I think it can work because the opposite is happening, right? I'm pretty sure Steam is coming to the Windows Store, and you can buy all of the games through the Windows Store. Or at least they said they were open to it, yeah. So Microsoft is open to Steam being a part of the Windows 11 App Store. So the idea was that, and officially it's coming. It came in 2021. So the goal was that they want Steam to sell games through the Windows Store, and it can still stay in Steam and still be provided by Steam, but that they would put all of the games that are on Steam in the Windows Store. Now, if that part of the partnership comes true, I think the other side of the partnership can come to fruition as well, which is Game Pass on Steam. So you kind of have it working both ways, so that people that want to use the Windows Store, which is nobody, can buy games, and people that want to have Game Pass on Steam, which is everybody, can do that as well. And I think it makes sense. Plus, there's also the lineage. Gabe worked at Microsoft for years. That's where he comes from. He's got a bit of an affinity to that company. So I do kind of think that it could happen. I don't necessarily know that it's inevitable, because I do think that business stuff can always get in the way. But I do think that it's very, very probable.
Yes. Now I know. Now that you've provided me with the context, yes.
Last one from Asobi. A fun one for the last question. What was your first Steam game, and how did you originally discover Steam?
First Steam game. Good lord. I would imagine it was oh god. Maybe it was something like one of the Dawn of War games back in the day. I think I first joined Steam. Let's actually look at my profile live. I first joined Steam. Come on, load, you bastard. 13 years ago, so 2010 it would have been. I have absolutely no idea how I would know what my first Steam game was, but it's probably something.
You can go to your purchase history and you can have a look, because I know what mine was, and I bought it in 2010. Yeah.
How do I go to my purchase history?
So if you click on account, and then you can go to purchase history. I got into PC gaming with Steam pretty late. Like, I was a PC gamer throughout my whole childhood, but we always bought like big box PC games. Like, we had like the boxed versions of Diablo and Diablo 2, and then the boxed version of the expansion. We had the boxed versions of Age of Empires. We had all of these kind of games when we were kids. But I built my own PC back in 2010. It was the first PC I ever built, and I bought a bunch of games. So on the 5th of July 2010, I bought Geometry Wars. That was my first game I bought on Steam. But I also bought a bunch of other games around that time: Deus Ex: Invisible War, Chime, Oblivion Game of the Year, and the Half-Life Complete, which was like all of them at the time, along with Portal 2. So yeah, I bought a bunch of games back in 2010.
I have done what you said here, and I remember now that I had been for a birthday or something like that. I had, or maybe I bought it myself, I don't know, a laptop that was capable of playing games. It was before, when I had a PC that I would play games and even make games on, I was doing a lot of pixel art. Back in 2002, it was like a hand-me-down computer from my grandma. No, my nan. It doesn't matter. And this was like the first device, like PC, that was my own, and that's when I decided to start getting games. It looks like the first game I ever bought was Bastion on the 17th of September 2011. And then after that, a few days after that, I bought Blocks That Matter. A few days after that, I bought Alpha Protocol. And then a few days after that, I bought Portal 2. And I think that was probably the first time I ever played Portal. Because I played Portal 1 on PS3.
Oh, you played the worst. That's the worst way to play Portal.
I can't.
I played Portal on Xbox in the orange box. That was where I played it. But the PS3 port of the orange box was handled by EA, and they did a really shit job. Truly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You look through a Portal on that, and the frame rate like drops off the fucking earth. It's horrendous.
Honestly, I probably didn't care back then. If it happened now, I'd be tweeting about it and complaining.
Yeah, you'd be like, "What's going on, EA?"
Back then, I used to like it when you'd be playing a game and you'd get a frame rate drop back in the day, and you'd be like, "Oh, sick! I did that by doing too many explosives or doing too much TNT." Now, if a game drops a frame because too much is going on, I'm like, "This is poor optimization."
You're like, what did they do? They didn't optimize this at all. Dreadful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next question we've got is from Navilis, and it takes us into our final section for this week's show, which is what are we playing on the deck at the moment? And he said, have you played Hi-Fi Rush on the Steam Deck? If so, how does it run? Have you played Hi-Fi Rush on the Steam Deck, Max?
Me, I have not, because I have playing it through Game Pass on PC.
But I know that you bought it on Steam.
Yes. The possibility of it is blowing my mind right now, because by picking these games up on Game Pass, I'm missing out on playing Tunic on the game on Steam.
You've been missing out on so much by not having EA Play through Steam as well. Like you could have had all of these games by now. For $3.99 a month, you could have just
all of those games.
All of these games.
So why don't you tell me how Hi-Fi Rush is on the Steam Deck?
Yeah, so I've been playing Hi-Fi Rush, played a bunch of it. I've just finished, I think, the second level. It runs flawlessly, absolutely flawlessly. It runs at 800p, fixed, locked 60 FPS. Even if you bump the settings up to high, I've managed to get it playing at 60 FPS, 1440p. Put on some TSR, as one of the scaling options as well, which is temporal super resolution, and just looks so good on the TV as well. So I'm really happy. I thought maybe I would have pretty crappy performance on TV when I'm scaling it up, but no, absolutely flawless. I'm really, really pleased with it. Highly recommend that game.
Worth the double dip then, was it?
Yeah, well, I already had £10 credit because I bought a few games and some of them were crap, so I refunded them. It was these horror games. So me and my friend have this whole habit of he'll come round and we'll just try and find scary indie games. But we downloaded this collection of games, and they were tank controls. And I was like, seriously, people are making games with tank controls in 2022? Yeah, so they
probably got a tank controlled game maker demo and just added a bunch of stuff to it.
It was so bad, Max. It was so bad. So yeah, I refunded those, and whenever I refund a game, I just get it as Steam credit. So I ended up putting that towards it. So it only cost me like 16 quid. But I'm really, really glad I bought it on Steam Deck, because it's a perfect handheld game. Genuinely such a nice game to play handheld. Bump up the sound on that if you pop headphones on as well, it really, really pops. with just the like really bright colors and the cool music, you can really get into the zone.
Yeah.
It's a perfect game just to like lie on the couch or lie in bed and just bop along to. It's a really, really great game.
Yeah.
What else are you playing on Steam Deck at the moment though? So if you're not playing Hi-Fi Rush, what's got you picking up your deck?
I'm going to be very honest with you right now. I haven't actually played my Steam Deck in 2 weeks.
No.
I know. I think I finished Tinykin, and I was sort of dipping in with some other things. And then in the last couple of weeks, I've just been playing Marvel Snap, which I have actually played Marvel Snap on my Steam Deck, thinking about it. When my phone's close to dying and I'm not sat on my computer, I will just open it up on the Steam Deck. However, I've just realised I found a wireless mouse in my drawer that I had years ago, and now I can put Marvel Snap in 4K. I say 4K; it's also still in portrait mode.
A slither of 4K, yeah.
Yeah, and I've got the super smoothing on from AMD's Adrenaline software, and I'm playing in bed with just the mouse. So the Steam Deck has remained uncharged for a little while. However, I am looking forward to sort of playing some smaller indie games on it soon. I've got some stuff installed that I'm just sort of like waiting for the. I think I said this yesterday. Last year, I didn't really play a game until Elden Ring came out, and I think this time Hi-Fi Rush and Dead Space are going to be the two games that get me in the zone to start playing more games again. And also, I've lost about 10 ranks in Marvel Snap in the last week, and I think I'm almost done with it. So.
Yeah, there's so many deals on at the moment. I kind of want to pick up Watch Dogs Legion when it's £10 on Steam as well. Like,
nah, don't do it.
I know. I've already played most of that game on Xbox as well, and it's not a great game, but it's £10, Max. It's like, yeah.
Then don't do it.
I want to run around.
That's
like
what I see that to myself all the time.
A fake future London, and do shit there. I don't know.
Get yourself something better. Come on, mate.
Yeah, I probably will. I think I'm probably going to pick up that. I think it's called Pizza Tower. I can't remember the name of it. I'm pretty sure it's Pizza Tower. Looks like Ren and Stimpy. But I've been playing some horror games, as I said. So I played the latest Fears to Fathom game with my friend. We finished that. That's that collection I keep talking about. Highly recommend it. The first episode of that is free. Please go and try Fears to Fathom. It's free. Runs great on Steam Deck, but you may need to put Proton GE on there. And if you don't know how to do that, download an app from the Discover Store called Proton Up QT. I might do a video on it at some point, but it's one of those essential things that you need. And then I've been playing a game called Lunch Lady. Have you ever heard of Lunch Lady?
I've never heard of Lunch Lady. I even tried to look it up very quickly and didn't find it. So
you didn't find Lunch Lady on Steam?
I didn't look on Steam. I just googled Lunch Lady and didn't get it. I give up for now.
Are friends with you on Steam? Because I want to play Lunch Lady with you. Have you ever played?
Yes, we are.
Have you ever played that game Slenderman 8 Pages or whatever it's called, or heard of it?
Yes. Yeah, I think any of the FSP, FFP, SSP, those games. You know the SSP games? Is it SSP?
No, I don't know the SSP games.
SSP, statutory sick pay. I think I'm getting this wrong.
You mean like Five Nights at Freddy's? Is that what you're thinking of?
No, it's not that. It stands for something.
Slenderman Super Party games. Yeah.
That's not the one I'm thinking of, but
I don't know what you're on about.
SCP.
What's the SCP?
The SCP. SCP stands for. So it's the SCP. Is the SCP Foundation. It was like a shared, like, people would write stories about like cryptids and stuff like that. And I think it's sort of where Slenderman came from, or it's an idea of where Slenderman came from. But there was an SCP game, the SCP Containment Breach, it was called, and you walk around this sort of laboratory trying to sort of get yourself in and out of places, and then you would see these SCPs, so they all have different numbers, and one of them was like a horrible, like, giant baby looking thing, and it's one of those ones where if you look at it, it's still, and then if you move it, it comes for you. Sort of that's where the Slendermen from Minecraft sort of got their thing from. But yeah, this Lunch Lady very much reminds me of that, sort of like the sort of noticeably bad like 90s style 3D graphics. You have a torch in SCP.
The graphics are great. You leave the graphics.
That I didn't say that in any negative way. I think it's great. How much is this? $3.99. It's going on the wish list.
Yeah. So Lunch Lady's an amazing game. It's a up to 4-player co-op game, and you're all going around a school, and you're looking for 10 pages of answers for your finals exam. Basically, you're just looking for 10 books. And the lunch lady doesn't like you looking around, so if she finds you, she'll run at you and smack you around the head with a frying pan. Or I found out that she can launch the frying pan at you. She'll throw it at you. So you can talk to people when they're in your like vicinity through the mic, which is quite cool. And you can hide, so you can like crouch and turn your torch off and hide, which is really cool. You can like heal people. There's keys you need to find in order to unlock different areas. There's tons of different levels you can play. There's tons of different characters, but they're all kind of the same. They've not got any different traits. So you just look different when you're playing with different people. But really great game. Tiny little $3.99 game. Scary as fuck at times. There's like, it's like very, 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 very scary and fun to kind of immerse yourself in with some friends. So if you're bored of like Phasmophobia, go play Lunch Lady. Great time.
Yeah. Then I will. Yeah, I wish I had more to say on that topic, Steve. I'm sorry that I have not done
That's all right.
it. But
just letting the side down. It's no problem. I get it.
Thank you.
No, it's all good. I want to hear from everyone else though. What are you playing on your Steam Deck at the moment? And don't forget to let us know what games you would buy with £100 or $100 down in the comments below. Or you can write into questions@flipscreen.games. If you've got a lot to say, you can send it over there, and we'll include it in the show next week. Or head over to our Discord. You can find all of the links that we've mentioned at our website, flipscreen.games, including our Patreon, our Twitch, all of that good stuff. But until then, thank you all so much for listening or watching or reading. And we'll see you next week.